for you. Now, it's time for Opinion Court. Please get in touch with us. Of course, if you're on social media, use the hashtag Opinion Court as one word. We'd love to hear from you. 22422 is our SMS line. And, of course, our official handles at Citizen TV Kenya, at Ann Kiguta. That's Ann with an E. We'd love to hear from you. Let me reintroduce my panel to you this evening. To my immediate right is Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua, also now of the new Maendeleo Chap Chap fame, which we'll talk about how far that is real or imagined. In the middle is Edward Kisiangani. He's our resident political analyst, and Makueni MP Daniel Manzo. Let's start by talking about the developments that took place this evening with that recommendation from the Commission of Inquiry into what was happening into Makueni, and now they are recommending that this county government be suspended. Here's the reaction of Governor Kibwana moments ago.
Sisi tunakubali maamuzi ya kamati ya Nyaoga kwa sababu waliamua kulingana na matakwa ya wananchi wa Makueni, na tunaongojea sasa rais na senate vile vile na wao waamue, kwa sababu kikatiba wana jukumu la kufanya hivyo, na tunafikiria kwamba Commission ya Nyaoga imefanya mambo mazuri, kwa sababu ilipo zunguka Makueni nzima ilielezwa kwamba watu wangependa serikali hii kwa sasa ijiondoe, ndio wapate kuchagua watu wengine, kwa sababu mazozano na uongozi duni ulikuwa ukiendelea.
That's what the man had to say. He sounds pretty confident. Governor Mutua, what do you think about those recommendations? Was it extreme?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll agree with Professor Kibwana that the Nyaoga team made recommendations based on what they found in Makueni. So the issue should not be about what the team or Nyaoga Commission found out. It should be what the people of Makueni want. And I think it's up to the people of Makueni to realize that their fate lies in their hands. Every time wasted as they battle out all these increases issues of law and order and everything, it means that people are just getting poorer. So I would rather the Makueni people are able to face this up front and say that it's a big challenge for them.
It sounds like you're saying their fate is sealed. Prof, do you think that is the case? Are we heading for the dissolution of this county government and a fresh plebiscite?
If indeed, Anne, the findings of the Nyaoga Commission was clearly that the people of Makueni are fed up with what is happening with their county government, what Professor Kibwana and the company should be doing now is they should already have stepped down, because it is a vote of no confidence in them. So they would save the country a lot of things by all of them just stepping down tomorrow. They shouldn't wait for a Senate discussion, because if indeed that is a reflection of what the people from Makueni said, then it means that people have already lost confidence in that government, which they are part of, so they should just step down. But of course, if they hold on, if you look at the confidence which is being exuded by the governor, I don't know where he gets this courage that he's very popular, because things can change. He seems confident that
you think otherwise?
I think he does not see his own mistakes, but there are a lot of people who stand on the sidelines who think that he's partly the problem.
What do you think his mistakes were?
I don't think he has a commanding leadership where he takes charge of decisions and makes decisions based on facts. He wavers a lot. I wouldn't compare him with the Governor Mutua, who takes a decision and holds on it and justifies it. But
and you're not just saying that because he's sitting.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that right. he needs to exude confidence, even with regard to decision making. I think the county government ran out of control because he was not able to provide leadership. So, but in addition to that, Anne, just quickly, if we go the whole hog and then we say that we go through Senate, I think the right thing to do for me is, I have always held the view that this county government should have been left to stay. But now their fate is in the hands of Senate, and depending on which interests are at play at Senate could still as well serve
Okay, we'll talk about that shortly. But
yes.
I want to get from you, Daniel, because you're the area member of parliament, the feeling on the ground. Just quickly respond to what Prof has said. Do you think it was weak leadership on the part of the governor? Obviously, there have been allegations on both sides between the MCAs and the executive on mismanagement of resources. What is your own assessment of what the real problems were, and do you think this is beyond the 90-day dispute resolution window that exists? Are we heading straight for a fresh fall and the dissolution of this county government?
Yeah. First of all, there has been a lot of efforts to make sure that the parties work. So even the 90 days period may work, but I also want to thank the team because they have reflected what the people of Makueni want. But also what is of importance is I would not like to anticipate the debate in the Senate because the law provides that unless now they resign voluntarily, then the Senate will have to debate this. The President will also make recommendation while forwarding the report to Senate for discussion. And then Senate will take a vote. Now that vote is what will decide exactly what will happen in Makueni.
But based on what you've seen on the ground, I'm assuming that you've had conversations with your constituents, etc.
Yes.
Would you say that there is the feeling that in this 90-day window, some sort of agreement can be reached to save us from having to go for an election?
It's a long time before all these problems started, and even when they started, by the time the commission was on ground, the leadership call has been, let's make up this, as Governor Mutua says, let's save time, because the time lost is never gained, and we've been losing in time. If really it goes on into dissolution, we will still lose a lot more time, and serious monies will be spent in this country, which can be used to pay the teachers instead of getting strikes and things like that. And so people are looking for a solution which is amicable, and the next election is not far away. It's only now 1 year, 11 months. So
do you think there is a strong leadership? Because that is the question you are evading. Do you think this guy, Prof, has the capacity to hold that county together?
You know, the people of Makueni elected him.
Yeah, but they are also saying that his government is weak and they don't like the way things are. By that presentation to the Nyaoga Commission, they are saying they have no confidence. But I think his interpretation of the situation is that they have no confidence in the other people, the MCS. But is that true?
Well, that will be a debate in Senate, depending on the report.
All right, fair enough. Governor, let me come to you because, of course, there are the power wars that we've been seeing playing out between yourselves and the Senate. Does it worry you that this could be their opportunity to remind governors that we could actually see you go?
Not necessarily. One of the things that we're missing here is why Makueni is where it is right now. I think my brother here is talking about weak leadership, but there's also been a lot of external interference in the governance of Makueni. The same way there's been a lot of interference in the governance of Kitui and also of Machakos, whereby you get politicians who are not within the county systems trying to influence what is happening within the county system. When I talked to some of the MCAs from Makueni and asked them what happened with the impeachment motion, they said they were directed to do that by their parties, by other individuals, by political leadership. So there's been a lot of...
By the Wiper Democratic Movement flag bearer?
I don't know. There are many players who really thought that county governments would be their puppets to play around with. And when the constitution became very clear that these are strong governments that are supposed to work the way they are, they've been doing a lot of underhand work. I mean, I know from first-hand experience of what has been happening in Machakos, whereby MCAs are called, they are given money, they are told do this, remove, make life difficult for Mutua, by people who are not even within the Machakos system because they want control. And it's an old system. It's the way Kenya has worked for many years.
Based on this first-hand experience you're referring to, who was calling the Machakos MCAs and telling them to make life difficult for you? Was it Kalonzo Musyoka?
Different political leaders. I don't want to name names here, but I want to say that different political leaders sat down with different people, gave them money, told them go to Machakos, do this, do that, and it failed miserably, and it will continue to fail miserably in Machakos. Unfortunately, it did not fail in Makueni, and it nearly went through also in Kitui, and we are seeing a lot of these wrangles that are going on to the detriment of the people because our leaders in this country are starting to lose focus. Instead of focusing on the poor mwananchi, they are starting to focus on supremacy, focus on who is more important, the senator, the governor, the political party leader, etc., etc. I think that is what Makueni is suffering from today.
But you know, Governor, that is the point. I agree with you partly that there has been probably some interference. And Machakos and Makueni are not unique. There are many places that would still have the same complaints as the ones you are passing. But how did you wriggle out of this? Because you seem to be able to fight the storm and survive this political interference. That is where leadership begins. How are you able to go through this? You have not told us how you have been able to deal with the situation. Suppose your counterpart in Makueni was also able to borrow from what you do to fight off this political interference. Would the situation have deteriorated to this level? Because
you think not.
I think not. And so you know, you guys, you are potential presidents of this republic. In fact, some of you would still be presidential candidates in 2017 or 2022. We are going to judge you by what you do at the local level. I don't think that with the performance of Prof at Makueni, we think he can go 2 more steps as he looks forward to leading Kenya, because he has failed there. So we want to see that his part. We don't care about the politics.
You think this could end his political career?
Yes.
I want to ask for your indulgence, because we'll come back and talk about your own political career and ambitions a little later. But Daniel, you had talked about this being a major financial issue. The by-election that was held in that county, I think 2 years ago, cost about 400 million shillings.
Yes.
So when you think about the possibility of the Senate saying, let this entire team go home if they should not have some sort of resolution. Hold on, I'm not done with my question. Thank you. Within those 90 days, the immediate concern is, where is the money going to come from? Should we just be prepared as Kenyans to bear the cost of this democracy that we have?
First of all, I want to respond to the other allegations of interference, because I've been at all material times in Makueni, and you remember this problem started immediately after the by-election of Mutula. After we lost Mutula Senior. That's where the interference started. And if I really want to lay blame, because blames have been laid here, the interference was actually from Jubilee, because Jubilee never accepted that it lost to Mutula. And there has been a real interference from Jubilee to Ukambani. And we talked to these leaders in Parliament, and we know our facts. So it is the interference is not from Kalonzo Musyoka, as you have alluded. In fact, Kalonzo Musyoka has fought very hard to keep everybody intact, to arbitrate, and has visited the area several times, and that really cooled down things.
What are the facts in as far as your allegation that it is Jubilee's interference?
Yes, I would say the losers to the Mutula by-election immediately started fight on Kibwana, who they had lost to. And that's where the problem started.
But why would this interference begin at the point that Mutula Kilonzo has died? Because if, for example, if it's a party matter, then the interference should have even started earlier, even when Mutula Kilonzo was there.
No. You remember
what is unique about
he was there only for a month. And by the time the county government were settling, immediately there was a plan to deal with the future politics in the country. This is 2017. So clearly one of the strategies has been to distract Ukambani, and Makueni has ended up being a victim.
I think we need to lay blame where blame is, and we need to not try to cover others, Well, we only say it's Jesus covers you, the blood of Jesus.
The blood of Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at Makueni, the people who are against Professor Kibwana were actually people of Wiper. You cannot say that they were people of the opposition, necessarily people who are of the Jubilee Party, for example, or even ODM. They were actually Wiper members who were actually against him. And if you look at what happened, even to the shooting incident that happened in Makueni, a group of MPs went to Mombasa, got from Mombasa, got into an aircraft, and went to, and I think you are part of them, aren't you? Went to Makueni to eject Kibwana from office. And it was during that movement of ejecting Kibwana from office, a group of MPs, together with the MCAs,
together with Daniel Manzo,
he was there. That's when the shooting happened. The the very unfortunate
Yeah.
shooting happened,
Right.
and things started getting out of hand. So let us, I'm wondering whether Maanzo was being used by Jubilee.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know to go, or whether he was being used by Wiper, or whether he was being sent by his people of Makueni to go and storm. All I'm saying here is that it's not an issue of Kibwana, Maanzo, or Wiper or others. It's an issue of all of us deciding that we have to stop these funny political games and focus on the people, because whatever happened in Makueni, as Professor says here, will continue happening in many places.
Manzo, I'm sure you wanted to respond to
Yes,
that, and I'm sure you are also alleging
present.
that it is Governor Mutua here who is being used by the Jubilee coalition because of his close seeming working relationship with the presidency. But I'll allow you to respond
Yes,
to
you see what happened in Makueni then, as a hosting MP, when there was a meeting in my constituency. Of course, I had to attend the meeting, and I was just a victim just like any other, because the bullets were also flying over my head.
But you were in Mombasa, weren't you?
We invited everybody.
You came with a group of MCAs and MPs to Makueni from a retreat in Mombasa to go and eject Kibwana. So you welcomed them.
I don't think that's not correct. What happened even Kibwana's own MCS, that was a leaders meeting of Makueni, which simply did not hold.
Fair enough. I don't want us to belabor that point too much, but clearly you're both agreeing that there's some infighting from amongst yourselves that led to this situation. Answer quickly the question on the cost of this, of going for a fresh plebiscite, and if you're worried about it and where IEBC would possibly get the funds, knowing that just running a Senate by-election cost about 400 million.
Yes, already now, the governor's office and all the offices, if it were to be dissolved, it will cost slightly over 3 billion shillings. And a lot of time will be wasted, and that's the monies now from the IBC itself and from the country. Of course, now the people will campaign and all that will really cost, and it will mean some months without some serious activity. And I think right now the county is really working, and it is up, it's already working. The MCAs are already working with the governor. So we just want to see what happens once.
Prof, let me come to you the question. How does this affect the larger Ukambani politics?
You see, it is a very curious arrangement now. Governor Mutua is saying that initially it was Wiper fellows who were fighting Kibwana. Then you have now heard, I think it was yesterday when I saw Prof Kibwana on television, saying that he has moved everywhere in Ukambani, and everybody saying they want Kalonzo. So is it because he has been baptized and joined your team? That's why now you're saying that there should be no election. People are now talking, and that brings us to the bigger question. This hero worshipping in our politics, it should stop. People must do things differently. I think every time you come to the stage like we are now on the stage on this opinion court, maybe 5-10 years ago we shall not be on this stage. But when your time comes to exit the stage, whether in the political arena or in the church or in a school, you must exit. And when you exit and other people want to play game, allow them. Try to mentor them, support them, even if you don't agree with them with ideas. The problem that we are witnessing in Ukambani is just the tip of the iceberg. That is the nature of our politics. Hero worshipping. Today you are a bad person because you don't worship a certain king. Tomorrow you turn and you because you are a supporter, you become a good person.
Instead of maendeleo chap.
Yes.
Let's listen to a very grieved Alfred Mutua over this past weekend. Basically shedding tears for the plight of your people at a rally, and it's very easy, knowing that you were the king of spin for none other than the government, to think that these are nothing more than crocodile tears. The sincerity of this Maendeleo chap can perhaps best be put to test in your own backyard, Syokimau, just as you leave Nairobi. Isn't exactly the picture of great infrastructure and development, yet you're spearheading or attempting to spearhead the same in the county. How do you reconcile these two?
Well, Maendeleo chap is a movement that says enough is enough. There are many ways of doing things, and we have now to start concentrating on helping our people and speeding up development for our people. That means that you have to take critical decisions that go against the status quo. That means that you have to do things differently. That means that you have to borrow from what Singapore has done, from what South Korea has done, from what Dubai has done. You have to do things differently, saving money and working hard to actually remove people from poverty. What has been happening in Ukambani and generally in Kenya is that people do things the same way. You vote for a budget, you sit, you do long plans, you sit, you write letters, and things go on. What I'm trying to do in Machakos, and to show that it is possible, is turning around the lives of people. People do not understand. You talk about Syokimau, for example. The plans that we have for Machakos and Syokimau, we've started tarmacking our roads. We will be tarmacking 17 new roads in this financial year. We are tarmacking Syokimau roads. We are tarmacking Mlolongo roads. Things that have always looked into disarray, we want to show that it is possible.
Your final thoughts, Danny?
Yes, you see, first of all, I like the great ideas the governor has. They are true. But you have to understand that we have, this is thanks to the new constitution. Now there's devolution. Now he has funds to work at the county level, and every governor has those funds to be able to work, you know, at their counties. Creativity is good, but there has to be structure.
So what he's saying here is nothing special, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, there has to be structures, and every governor has their own way of succeeding. If he succeeds, we wish him well. But talking about the tears, I don't think they are real. If they were really real, he would have cried those tears when he was a government spokesman. And I was with him in government. Ukambani was suffering. He was there with President Kibaki.
He would have been crying.
He would have cried to Kibaki.
Fine. Your final... okay, I'll come to you. I'll come to you for your final comment. Prof, your final comment.
I think the bottom line is our people need services. And our people need to move out of poverty. Poverty is not a virtue. Poverty is something really, it's a disease which we should fight. So I don't care what people did yesterday, because they might have done bad things, but what is now the main agenda for our development is to make sure we change the lives of our people. And for me, Anne, even if you are elected, you have a duty to change the lives of our people. But even when you are not elected, and you have resources like most of our unelected leaders, you still have a duty to change. Right. Don't spend too much time fighting those who are elected.
Finally, briefly, Governor, very briefly.
There's no romance in poverty. And I wept for my people because of the problems that our people, not only in Machakos but in Kenya, have faced over the years, with leaders who just think about themselves. Leaders who just think about their status quo, about how big cars, how many big cars they have, how many big houses they have, how many kids they're sending overseas, how comfortable they are, whereas their people are suffering. What we are saying is this: the time for change has come, and change has to happen. If our youth are going to be rescued from the poverty that they are in, and the sense of hopelessness, then this change has to be there. As I said in Machakos, is a clip I wish you could have played. We have started the journey from the bondage of Egypt to the promised land. The journey
and your Moses, I suppose, in this
narrative. I'm telling you, and we are going to get there.
All right,
we are going to get there. And but Amanzo, I hope you'll join us when we get there. There's a space for you in the
I think I'm already ahead of you.
Maybe you could discuss the spaces after this. Thank you for your views. We're back with more.
We're back with more.